Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. I'm your host Jamie, and the theme of this episode is the cheating stories subreddit. So I have all stories from the cheating stories subreddit, and excuse me, I did get a recommendation of or a suggestion. What am I calling it? I don't know. Someone said I should do cheating stories, which I have done previously, but I figured why not do one that's actually dedicated to the cheating story subreddit. But we're going to get into it. So the title of the first story is Just Found Out My Partner of 17 Years Had a 3.5 year affair 10 years ago. So, very long story short, well, as short as I can. I just found out 6 months ago that the woman, 41 female, I've, 41 male, always seen as the love of my life, had a 3-year affair with a coworker that started in late 2011, just a month after meeting him at her new job. We had been together for 3 years at that point. She gaslit me every time I thought something was off back then, but finally admitted in May of 15 after some pictures surfaced that they kissed once, but she knew it was wrong, and so she had completely stopped talking to him. I've never really believed that story, and in October of last year, I found a journal where she describes falling in love with him the moment she met him, that the only thing wrong with him was the wedding ring on his finger, and how she knew what she was doing was wrong but didn't care because she couldn't see living her life without him. He told her he would leave his wife for her, but never did. They texted every single day, spent most nights a week together, and went to lunch together nearly every weekday. After 3 years, he told her the affair needed to end and that he was staying with his wife. For 4 months, she wrote how she wouldn't give up on him despite his decision after all they had been through. She says, and continued to seduce him until he finally cut her off for good sometime in early May of 2015, just a week before her confession of the kiss. Prior to meeting him, most journal entries were about how amazing I am, how proud she was to be mine, and how excited she was to spend the rest of her life with me. Now, today, we have a 2-year-old son. Easily the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I'm trying to make this relationship work for him to not tear his family apart. We're in therapy, and it's been going okay, but I've got these thoughts in my head, thoughts about all the things she did with him, all the time they spent together in spite of me, all the secret messages behind my back while we were together, all the times she lied to my face and showed absolutely no remorse or guilt for any of this until truly caught red-handed. To boot, I had found a Snapchat message saved from 2017 when she left that job, where they told each other how happy they were that this had happened, how it made them both see so much value in themselves as a result. And now, 6 months into confession, and she seems sincere at this point. She trickled truthed and lied some more for a while, but has confessed now to some very difficult things for me to hear, given me details she didn't have to for the sake of honesty. So I feel like she is really trying in that aspect. I get a feeling of love from her that I had not felt in some time, and it seems genuine. It feels like she has fallen back in love with me. But is that enough? Is that enough for me to look past this horrid thing that she did to me? I would die for my son, no question. And I keep looking at this as my responsibility to him to do everything I can to protect him. But I can't get these thoughts about her out of my head, about what kind of horrible person it takes to do what she did to me for so long and just not care that she had done it, to actually be proud of it while she was doing it. I feel lost. Well, the number one thing I have to say about that is the fact that she wasn't honest about it once it came out. Like, she should have spilled everything. But the fact that she's like started with something small and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and she still wasn't telling all of the truth is such a red flag, and so it's awful. It's horrid. And secondly, I've said this before and I'll say it again until the day that I die, but don't stay in a relationship for your kids. What the best thing that you can do in a relationship where you feel like it's pretty much over and there's no way that you're going to be able, that's what I'm getting from this story for sure, 100%, is that he's something that he's never going to be able to move past, and he's going to have trust issues with this woman for the rest, which I don't blame him, as would I. And I think that, like, I don't know everything, but as the person that I am today, I would say to leave someone that does this to you, especially. Not only did she do that to you, but she wasn't honest about it time and time and time again. So truly the best thing I think you can do for your son is to amicably split up and be able to take care of him as co-parents and show him how maybe not all relationships are meant to be, or not all relationships end up working, but that doesn't mean that you can't be a mature person. And especially if you have a kid, you can show him that you can be a mature person, you can amicably split in a relationship, and that it's going to be okay, and that both of you are going to be okay, and that you're going to find a way to co-parent the best that you can. Just setting that kind of example for your son, I feel like, is way more important than trying to keep your family together for the sake of your kid when it's an unhealthy situation. Like, you don't want to be trapped in an unhealthy marriage that's just going to show your son a toxic relationship, and that's going to set his example and his outlook on relationships for the rest of his life. That's what you're going to be doing by staying in this relationship and by trying to protect your son. You're going to be doing the complete opposite of that and actually harming him and his view of relationships. Like, that's really all I have to say. But, anyways, let's read some comments. This person said, "This is too much to go back to. Back in love with you until she meets the next guy." Exactly, or the same guy. "This isn't about her or even your son. Can you live with someone that disrespected and lied to you for so long? Perhaps you can. Can you?" OP said, "This is a question I keep asking myself. Sometimes I think I can do it for my little boy, and sometimes I think I'm a fool for even considering it. One day this boy will find out what his mother did. You are going to teach that boy that that's okay to be someone's backup plan. I think about this a lot and I wrestle with it. Think of it this way. You became her fallback consolation prize. If he wasn't married, would he have left his wife or not cut your wife off? She would still be with him. She is with you because he became unavailable, not because she made a choice to stay with you. Her affair partner made the choice for her, and she decided it was easier or more beneficial to stay with you when her other option was being single. You deserve better than being her backup plan that she used rather than being alone. Your relationship may be better, but you are still not the same person she desperately tried to be with. I would guarantee that if her affair partner became available and contacted her tomorrow, that you would still be kicked to the curb." Opie said, "Man, thank you. I feel this. All these thoughts run through my head. I don't think I could have worded it any better than this. I wonder so often, what if? What if this? What if that? What if he was single? What if he got her pregnant? What if I caught them? What if she caught them? What if he left? What if she left? It's hell." Exactly. You don't want that to be looming over your head for the rest of your life. Like, I just truly don't think that a relationship like this, where so much, you know, toxic and tumultuous stuff has happened, I don't think it's worth it and to continue a relationship like that. Like, I do think that there's a point of no return that you can reach in a relationship where that's just something that you're not going to be able to work through, and it's okay to accept that, and it's okay to give up that relationship. Even though that's way easier said than done, I think that that's going to be what's best for you and your son in the future. We're going to move on to the next story, and the title is, "I just caught my wife of 18 years. I got a friend request on Facebook from a woman I didn't know. We had some of the same friends, so I accepted it. Come to find out, she caught my wife and her husband in her bed together. She had her daughter in her arms when this happened. She knows my wife and thought that they were friends. I dropped my wife off at another friend's house so they could go to the expo all weekend together. Come to find out, her friend was already there and this dude's truck was parked on the street. When I left, I started getting the messages, so I went back and the truck was gone and his wife said it was definitely his. We have 2 kids together, and she's been using our daughter as an excuse for months to go to this other friend's house who was covering for her while my daughter would stay overnight with her daughter. I guess he also came over to her friend's house when my daughter and wife are there. I'm finding this all out today after I drop her off. I try to call my wife, but no answer. So I text her, but she's caught and she denies it. I finally got to her I finally got her to admit after a few hours of back and forth text. I'm hurt, but I feel glad that I know so I don't have to deal with an unfaithful wife. She doesn't work, but I do, and I work a lot so we can afford to live. I got a bonus last week for $8,000 and it's all gone with my paycheck from today as well. She really put me and our family in a bad way. She not only wrecked the family, but ours too. She not only wrecked the other family, but ours too. I've never cheated and I don't understand why she did. Now I think, how many times has she done this over the years?" Okay, that's just, I'm assuming he's for sure gonna leave her because what the hell? What the hell? Does that mean I got a bonus last week for $8,000 and it's all gone with my paycheck from today as well. Does that mean his wife spent all of that money? That's wild to me. That is wild to me. Like, what? People are so crazy. Okay, let's read some comments. You have to leave her. If you don't, you won't rest well forever. If you do, you will enter hell briefly. What? Some people here will tell you don't leave the house, don't start dating. That is the worst boilerplate advice. These things should never be said to anyone because they may work for some and they may kill others. I actually am so confused about what that just said. Like, I'm scared. So her friend covered up her cheating and your wife felt no shame using your daughter to have sex with a married man. Wow, she surely put a lot of effort into planning her cheating. OP, don't listen to her excuses that she's going to come up with. Whatever she says, stay calm and collected. This will not only confuse her, but also freak her out. She's expecting you to be angry, scream at her, and ask questions she's mentally preparing for. So the last thing she'll expect is for you to remain calm. Unfortunately, you also need to get your children paternity tested. Your wife is awful and you need to find a good attorney. Any chance you can get temporarily fired, not having a job might help with alimony. Also, you need to find out if infidelity has an effect on divorces in your state. Oh, not the temporarily fired. Girls that cheat shouldn't get alimony. She should surrender her right when she got plowed by another man. Oh, yikes. You and his wife should ship them both off to the friend who enabled them. She wanted them together so bad she can house them. Opie said, I agree. She doesn't have a job, so she can't afford bills for the house. I texted her and told her that they should both find somewhere to live because his wife and myself don't want them back in ours. That's wild. I can't even imagine the trauma of walking in on someone cheating on you. Like, I genuinely cannot imagine that trauma. Actually, guys, I have tea. Obviously, you don't know who these people are, but someone that I went to high school with and I was friends with loosely, he was like one of those guys that were just like really, he was popular, but he was like really energetic and kind of like extremely annoying at times. So like we weren't best friends or anything by any means, but he was dating my friend for for probably 2 or 3 years. So obviously by default we were friends. And he was like a year older than us, I believe, but ever since we graduated, he moved to a different state. And I'm just not going to say what state it is because I don't want to give too much detail. I mean, like, as if he's ever going to see this, never. But still, I just don't want to give too much detail. But he did move to another state, okay? And he met this girl, and they've been together ever since. Like, it's been 7+ years since they've been together. And they got engaged recently, like last year. Okay, this is crazy to me. They got engaged last year. One of my friends texted me and she literally, no, sorry, what? He cheated on her outside of a club that his fiance was inside of. And she saw them. She saw him cheating on her outside of the club. That's wild. That is wildly insane to me. And also, it's hard to believe that he's never cheated on her before that, right? Like, obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of their relationship. I haven't talked to this man in fucking, what, 9 years? So, like, whatever. But wild behavior. That's insane to cheat on your fiance, especially, like, being together for that long and then you finally get engaged and then you cheat on her. Like, why not cheat on her before you get engaged so that you can at least save like a little bit of heartache? Like, obviously it's going to be just as hard, but now it's way harder because I'm sure they were planning their wedding and like all that stuff. And once you get engaged, I feel like you really are like, okay, it's set in stone. Like, I'm going to be with this guy forever. My merch is out. So I did a little kissy because I just love little kissy marks right now. It's just like my thing. And then I put my little logo right here, Storytime Society, right under there, but it's really small. So yeah, but this is it. There are other merch designs also on the site. And this comes in pink, black, and white. I'm excited about it. So if you want to get a little cute piece of merch, go grab one. Yeah, okay. That's it. And that's just crazy to me. I could not believe that when I found that out. I was like, wow. Wow. If that happened to me, I would be going crazy. The way that I would literally be posting a 70-part stories on TikTok, I'd be like, yeah, who the fuck did I get engaged to? Part 700. And then I would be exposing everything. It's actually insane. I can't. Because if someone did that to me, like, you better run. You better watch out because I'm exposing everything. Like, I'm gonna be petty about it. I am, simply put, because you think that I'm gonna let you cheat on me in front of my face while I'm outside? Or while I'm inside the club, you're gonna be going outside cheating on me? Like, I'm sure he cheated on her plenty of times before. She just never found out, which is also very sad. But I'm so happy that she left him. Like, thank God, because I feel like in those situations it can be hard. It can be way harder to decide to like leave someone after so long of being together and then also like being engaged and planning a marriage or planning a wedding and stuff. But yeah, that's a little bit of tea. Personal tea. Not personal. It's like literally has nothing to do with me. But it's like someone that I used to be friends with. Anyways, we're gonna move on to the next story. The title is My Wife of 4 Years Had an Affair with My Stepfather. I haven't said any of this out loud or typed it out to anyone besides my family and my therapist, so here goes nothing. I'm going to give the full background so everything falls into place. My wife, 26 female, and I, 26 male, have been together since we were both in 7th grade, middle school. We went through all of high school together and the same college together, with zero breaks or time offs. We always had a strong connection and loved each other throughout those 9 school years. Everyone in our class knew we would get married, got voted that at prom, lol. I proposed our junior year of college, and we got married after graduating. We were both 22. My parents got divorced when I was 6, and then my mom remarried when I was 15. My mom was 48, and he was 52. He was a basketball player. He played 4 years at a D1 college and played overseas for 5 plus years. Never was good enough for G League or NBA, but he had married my mother after all that and was/is a roofer ever since. He is 63 years old now. Me personally, I'm 5'6" and never played any sports throughout school. Don't get me wrong, I always made sure to stay in shape and always went to the gym regularly my entire life, but I never did competitive sports mainly because of my height. Anyways, so basically, my wife has known my stepfather for as long as I have. Anytime he would see me, she would be with me. Fast forward now, we're 4 years into marriage and one child, 2 years old. My mother lives less than 5 minutes from us, so we always see them. My wife is an engineer, and I work in pharmaceutical sales. My schedule is always different daily, but I'm mainly always working 8 to 4, most of the days coming after 4. One day I had nearly half my sales closed early and was headed around home around 1 o'clock. I pull in and see my stepfather's car parked in the street down from us. At first, I thought, oh, he knows someone in the neighborhood. I go home, I walk in the door, through the side door, not the garage. Quicker to get in, and coincidentally, there's no ring camera there. I walk in, and right away, I just hear loud, suspicious noises. I go upstairs quietly, open our bedroom door, and I see my wife having sex with my 63-year-old stepfather in our bed. The worst part was they couldn't even see or hear me open the door. So it was maybe 12 to 15 seconds of me just standing there, jaw dropped, speechless, maybe 5 to 6 feet away from them. Her only single repeated answer to why she did it was, I just needed something different. And to this day, I never knew why it started. I keep assuming minimum 5 plus. Oh, wait, sorry. And to this day, I never know when it started. I keep assuming minimum 5 plus years since they have known each other for 11 years, but I'll probably never know. Going through the divorce process now, and honestly, I felt 100 times worse for my mother. The pain she's also in is terrible. And yes, I did get a paternity test, and the child is mine. But in summary, I never felt being less of a man till now, but working on a better self. Oh my god. Imagine. Imagine. Also, being together since you're in 7th grade is wild to me. I feel like obviously in every situation, there's always going to be relationships that work and that don't work. So don't get me wrong. But I feel like the probability of that working, of you staying with someone that you have been dating since 7th grade, is like 2%. And I've done no research on that, but I can almost guarantee it is around that number because I don't know, just like 7th grade, who you are in 7th grade. Ugh, I just feel like you need to. experience so much more so that you can really like figure out who you are by yourself and like have that experience. Because then something like this happens, like you have a midlife crisis so early. You're 25, 26 years old and you're having a midlife crisis because you've been with the same person for so long. And like, of course, I know there's people that would like are happy together and could be together forever. I'm sure there's like not that many people that have been together since they've been like in 7th grade, but I know that there are people in the world, of course. But I don't know. I just feel like you just want to experience other things. You just having a no. If I was with the same ew, if I was with the guy that I was dating in 7th grade, my life would be miserable. I talked about him in another episode, one of the guys that I was dating in 7th grade. The like bad boy that I talked about that ended up dating my friend. That is who I would be married to if I stayed together with someone who I dated in 7th grade. What? No, because especially like I did after that I was like I never I just thought I thought so differently of him, and just everything changed. Like I did not like him at all, and my taste changed so much. Like I no longer liked bad boys that were very like players and giving off weird vibes. He was like the worst kid in our grade. He was the worst kid. He would like I wouldn't have been surprised. Ew, I hate to say that, sorry. I wouldn't be surprised. Like I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if he was like a serial killer or something. I'm not even kidding. I could see it. Like I feel like he's the type of person he just has no emotion, no empathy, and I don't know. I bet you he was a terror when he was younger. Like I guarantee you he was a terror for his mom when he was younger. Like I just can't even imagine. And now he has a kid and I just feel so bad. That's just terrible. But I can't if that my life would be so much different if I was still with, and I know that's obviously that's not the case for these people. I know that I'm like just kind of generalizing, and I know that everyone's different, and obviously their relationship was good while it was like while they were together for a while at least. So I know, my situation doesn't apply to everything, but and to everyone, but that's just crazy to me to be with someone for that long. I don't know, but okay, let's see. The top comment says, Jesus, dude, see a solicitor and get a DNA test done on your kid. See a doctor for STD testing. You'll need to talk to your mom, preferably before he does. Control the narrative. OP said, all said and done already. The kid is mine, and all three, mom, kid, and I, are clean. Did you kick her out of the house? Did your mom kick your POS stepfather out? How terrible your wife is. She is a POS as well as your stepfather. Tell me that your mother also threw in the face the divorce paper to your stepfather. 14 years down the drain just because she needs to experience different. Might as well, who knows how other she might have been just for the sake of this diversity. You have done well, OP. Sad for the kid too. Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding what that's saying. OMG, what a horrible story. My heart breaks for you and your mom. Is she getting divorced as well? No disrespect, but you're one of us now. I'll see you at the gym, my guy. We'll grab a drink after and compare troubles. Make sure to publicize it to everyone you know what she and your stepfather did. Better they hang their heads in the shame. You're not less of a man. She's less of a woman and wife for betraying you like that. And of all people, her father-in-law. Yeah, I mean, that's truly when I would be going crazy. That's like the craziest story ever to be like, because I have a stepmom, so I'm just like imagining that being my life. That's what I always do in like scenarios like this, is I try to put myself truly into their shoes, and I think about like, okay, who was I with in 7th grade? Me dating them and then marrying them and then finding out and like walking in on my stepmom and him screwing. That's a wild scenario to imagine. Like just put yourself in those shoes for a second, because that is a wild scenario. I mean, yikes. That's so scary. That's one hell of a trauma dump story to like tell. Obviously, I'm not saying I'm being lighthearted there, and it's not a lighthearted situation, but like imagine you're like talking to the next person that you get with and you're maybe gonna date or end up marrying, and you have to explain that situation. If my boyfriend told me that, like, I'd be like, oh my God, that is actually so sad. I would just feel so terrible for someone that had to go through that. That's like the worst case scenario in a relationship, especially someone that you're middle school sweethearts with. Okay, well, that's the end of the story time segment. We're going to move on to the advice segment. So if you ever want unprofessional advice from me, I love to hear your guys' stories and everything that you guys have to ask me. So the link is in the description below. It's a Google form. Don't get it confused with the truth or drink form that is also down there for my personal page. Um, but yeah, we're going to get started on this question. It is a little bit of a long one. So it says, when I was 13, I started questioning my sexuality when I joined a queer friend group for the first time. The leader of this friend group was Mary. She was my best friend by the time I was 14, and then I started to think I was a lesbian because I thought I had a crush on her. As we got closer and closer, we became girlfriends after we were accidentally two of our friends who were dating plus ones to a Valentine's Day dinner. I was at her house constantly, and I was really close to her family. Even before dating, she was always lovey-dovey, and I was not. Then came the thing I regret most in my life. We had sex. I don't really remember it, but afterwards she kept getting more lovey and always wanted to have sex when I was around, while I just wanted to hang out and have fun, like dancing and singing along to music, and it made me uncomfortable. Then we stopped seeing each other in person as much because of school. At this point, the friend group had disassembled, and I had found a new friend group online that was also queer but had more variety of identities. After hanging out with them more and more, I realized something about me that I didn't know was a thing. I was a roche. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means or how to pronounce that, so I'm going to look it up. An aerowace? Okay, sorry. I didn't know what that meant, and I did not know that word, actually. Okay. It is a term for individuals who identify as both aromantic, experiencing little to no romantic attraction, and asexual, experiencing little to no sexual attraction, representing a unique intersection within the LGBTQIA plus spectrum. Okay, so now we're going to continue. I realized I never liked my girlfriend more than a best friend. Like how I found out I only like my past two boyfriends as friends, which was what originally made me think I was gay. Now everything made sense to me. I didn't like her romantically or sexually. Hell, I never said I love you when she did all the time. All I would say was ditto, thinking it was like a cute thing. With the hyping up from my friend who really supported me when I came out as Aeroace to her, I called Mary and broke up with her. Told her everything about my identity, said we could still be friends because I genuinely loved her as a friend. She begged me not to leave, that we could make this work. I told her no and restated we could still be friends. She finally accepted that we started hanging out at her house again. She kept being lovey-dovey towards me still and making advances, but I didn't want to leave her because a few days before her mom got diagnosed with cancer. Her mom has now since beat the cancer, but I had had enough. I ended our friendship after a week. It was a month before my birthday, and Mary said she already made my gift and begged to still give it to me. I said yes, but to give it to our mutual friend who would give it to me, since I wanted no more contact. I got the gift, and it was a handmade paper box with love poems she wrote about me, some in normal writing and some in different codes we used to decipher codes together. I cried. I felt so guilty. And then it became worse when I found out through online bullying from one of our mutual friends that she told all of our friends about how we had sex when I told her I wanted to keep it between us. I dropped everyone besides the friend that accepted my identity and helped me break up with Mary. Then a month later, the mutual friend who dropped off the gift came and talked to me about how she realized that Mary was toxic, a liar, and not telling everyone the truth about why we broke up. Mary was apparently telling our friends I lied about loving her just to use her for sex. Turns out Mary would tell this friend everything about our sex life in detail, and it made the friend really uncomfortable. So me and her became friends again since she never did anything wrong to me. Slowly, each person that was friends with Mary and me would apologize to me saying they didn't know how toxic she was. Because once she lost one friend by them realizing what she was really like, she would become best friends with another, and they would realize what she was like, so on and so forth. The friends who hurt me trying to defend Mary apologized. Now I'm almost 20. She's out of my life. I'm still friends with all the people that were friends with both of us, and no one talks to her. We don't even know what she's up to. I still identify as Aeroace, but I hold so much regret. I was 14 when I lost my virginity, and no one outside of those few friends know. We were 14, we were children, and I can't get over it. I feel guilty about everything. I regret everything. I feel strong in my identity, but I don't remember having sex that well. I have had several concussions since then and realized only a year after that I couldn't remember it, just remembering we did have sex. And that makes me sometimes doubt my identity because what if I did actually like it and I just don't remember? I guess I want advice on how to put this in the past and stop regretting it. I know it's a part of life and I wouldn't be who I am today without those experiences, but I can't stop feeling this way. I want to get over this, but I can't and I don't know how. Okay, I've never been in this specific situation before. I mean, this is a very specific situation. So I feel like the best that I can say about this is it helped you figure out who you were and it helped you realize your identity. And obviously, as you're saying, like you don't remember it, but if you don't feel the need to do it again and you don't have that desire, then I think that you should 100% be comfortable in your identity. And I know you are comfortable, but at the same time you're thinking, maybe you're doubting it because maybe you did actually like it and just don't remember. But I think that it's something that you would want and you would think about often wanting to do. And it seems like that's not something that you experience ever. And so I think that that should make you confident in your identity. This is it's something that I think maybe you need to go to a therapist for to actually truly talk through it, because if it's something that's seriously bothering you for this many years, and obviously I can only say so much, I can say that I can reassure you that you should be comfortable in your identity and that this experience just helped you figure out who you were and helped you figure out your identity. As much as I say that, or as much as I can try to convince you of that, if you don't believe it yourself, then that is the true root of the issue, and you're never going to get over it if you don't truly find techniques on how to work through it, which I am not a therapist, so I do not have those techniques, and I've also never been through a situation similar to this, and I've never even had a friend that has gone through something like this, so I do wish that I could help a little bit more in that way. But one thing to remember is that you're definitely not alone in feeling this way. You were 14, you were a child, and it's okay to look back on something and grieve it. I mean, I still look back on stuff all the time that I did at that age. And I look back and, there were times that I was feeling so. I think I've definitely gotten through most of that stuff now at my age, at 27 years old. But at your age, I definitely think I still looked back at experiences similar to that. And I regretted it. And even though it wasn't my fault, I still regretted it and felt icky about it. There's a lot of things that were mostly induced by drinking and, can really be explained because I was too drunk or just trusted people that I shouldn't have trusted. And for example, I've talked about this before, but when I was 13, ugh, it's honestly so disgusting. I hooked up with a 27-year-old when I was 13, and I think back to that and I just it makes me feel so disgusting. And I've definitely moved past the point of grieving it like it seems like you are. But I definitely had a lot of years where I looked back at that situation and I felt really gross about it, and I felt like it was something that I should be ashamed of and that I shouldn't have done, and I was shamed a lot by my friends at that time. I don't know, I wouldn't even call them friends because those are the same friends that shamed me for getting my nudes spread around. So I'm not really sure how much friends they were actually, but yeah, they shamed me a lot when in reality they should have been shaming the person that with the 27-year-old adult, fully grown adult that did that with a 13-year-old. So, I mean, they're the ones that took me to this party. They were 2 years older than me, and I trusted them, obviously. They were still children as well. They were 15 years old, so it's not like I can really blame them or anything. I blame the person that was an adult and that was 27 years old and knew that that wasn't an okay thing to do, because I'm 27 years old and the thought of that literally makes me ill. Like, doing that with a 13-year-old makes me ill, and I believe that people that do that need to be in jail, because that's just like, something's wrong with you if you do that. But nothing about your regret, your confusion, or your identity makes you broken or wrong. And the fact that you don't clearly remember it does not invalidate your Aroace identity at all. It's not like, your identity isn't based on, or your orientation isn't based on just one singular event or situation, or frankly, how clearly you can recall that situation. Just like one situation doesn't completely invalidate or determine who you are as a person. A couple things that I can suggest. Obviously, the first thing would be therapy if it's accessible to you. Maybe writing a little letter to your 14-year-old self and talking to her as your now 20-year-old self, and writing them a letter with kindness and no judgment, and let them know that you're trying to take care of yourself now and that you're working through it now. Another thing that's really important is obviously letting yourself feel the grief in situations like this, because sometimes you can think like, oh, I just need to push this down and like forget about it. How do I just forget about it? That's obviously like a question that you're asking yourself. How do I stop thinking about it? How do I forget it? I would first say focus on feeling the grief of the situation and feeling the sadness, the angriness, the upsetness that you feel, and just letting yourself feel it so that you can truly like process the situation. Because that's really the only way that you get through things, right? Is by processing it and by feeling the emotions, instead of prolonging it by pushing it down and thinking, how do I just forget about it? How do I just, speed up time and get over this situation? Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you can't just quickly get over a situation. Sometimes you just need to focus on letting yourself, being kind with yourself and letting yourself grieve the situation and letting yourself feel the feelings that you feel, and not feeling shame around the regret or the situation as a whole. And just remembering to not judge yourself or associate that event with shame. And yeah, please let me know if you enjoyed this episode, and let me know how you feel about all the stories or anything that I talked about. I love you, and have the best day ever. Bye. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.